Thank you, President Lee. And as I sat listening to Richard Norman, there is a connection. I think it can be said that proof of any challenging speech at a Rotary convention hitting its mark is if anyone asks you to repeat what you said. And I'm pleased to note, President Lee, that you've been the first to pay that compliment, but I can tell you that there are some others as well. My brief, and what you're going to hear is a 5-minute take on my 20-minute speech. My brief was to provide a personal pulse take of Rotary in New Zealand. And to do this, I first canvassed the organisation's admirable record of meeting needs by harnessing the skill of volunteers towards worthy aims, in the way that Richard eloquently put it a minute or so ago. I then made reference to the proverbial 1.2 million Rotarians in over 200 countries in 2014, and observed that this was the same figure they told us about in 2000, 1.2 million. The current Wikipedia reference to Rotary confirmed that the number of Rotarians has slightly declined in recent years. Worldwide, 1 in 10 members are under 40, 2/3 are over 50, and 4 in 10 are over 60. Thus, I suggested that Rotary, after having had some golden years worldwide since 1905, could be said to have passed its peak. Turning to New Zealand, my inquiries revealed a similar picture. A 20% overall decline in membership nationwide from 10,502 in 2010 to 8,736 at the end of last year. The reduction continues more steeply as baby boomers who have filled the ranks in times to the present are being replaced by Generation X and Generation Y members at a lesser rate. I cited articles showing that associations like ours face obscurity as they are replaced by newer, more innovative competitors. The first baby boomer, it is said, turned 65 in 2011. This cohort of baby boomers who have had time to invest in organisations such as Rotary and have provided so much impetus for its good work will be replaced by the next group, who are fewer in number and who have to work harder to achieve a work-life balance. They will be less inclined to join any organisation with strict rules of compliance. So, 10,000 Rotarians in 2010, 8,000 now, thus looks like being 5,000 by 2020 if we're lucky. I then offered 3 thoughts on the kinds of solution that may need to be considered to deal with that decline. The first was to say that Rotary in New Zealand, in my view, has fractionated itself unnecessarily, with the result that we have too many small clubs, too many districts, and too little traction as a result. That our small country should harbour 6 districts and 270 clubs is, to my mind, astonishing. I suggested that Rotary should be reconfigured as a national organisation with a New Zealand focus. There should be 1 district, not 6, like Ireland, I said, with the district governor being seen as a significant community figure, with a similar profile to the head of Business New Zealand, or the Salvation Army, or the combined trade unions, and one could add to that the chief executive of the New Zealand Rugby Union, or the Police Association, all of whom are well-known community figures. Rotary is close to the heartbeat of New Zealanders, and should surely be able to suggest remedies for alarming inequalities that have emerged in New Zealand society in terms of health, education and well-being here at home. I said that this reconfiguration could be set in train by calling for a national hui of all Rotarians and soliciting resolutions that could achieve a national body. My second suggestion was that clubs should be consolidated to increase their critical mass. Fewer and stronger clubs would also result in less being paid in capitation fees than by a greater number of clubs as at present. What I really meant, as will be known with our colleagues here, was that clubs with fewer than 50 members are too small. My third suggestion was that new forms of membership should be promoted, including electronic clubs with meetings online, including clubs with members aged less than 30, including clubs with people of similar occupations, rather than being restricted by an outdated classification system as at present. I finished by echoing the words of the recent Rotary World President Kalyan Banerjee, who called for building a younger, brighter, more vibrant organisation. I then said, secondly, if the challenge is not taken up, Rotary may be in danger of missing its Kodak moment, and that will be known to many of the people in this audience. The well-known household name multinational Kodak failed to heed the onset of the digital era. It's a little bit like the photograph that Richard Norman had up, and was reduced to bankruptcy in 2012. Although it has returned to trading today, Kodak is a shadow of its former self. I thus, ladies and gentlemen, made a case and offered a challenge which seemed to be warmly enough received. One problem was that I spoke in the graveyard spot on day 2 of the conference, and Mike Woodard and Anthony Scott may be able to confirm or make an explanation about this. But my impression was that the cohort of VVVIPs who always go to these Rotary conventions when an institute and a district and districts combined, that little cohort of VVVIPs had been taken away for their arrest by the time that I spoke.